MSNBC is really trying its best to piss off their audience. Look at this from the Daily Beast. The conservative hiring spree at MSNBC, once considered the liberal cable news outlet, continued Wednesday as the network announced that it has hired New York Times columnist Bret Stephens as a contributor. The former Wall Street Journal columnist recently switched over to the Gray Lady, I think that's New York Times. I don't know why they worded it like that. That's just weird. And generated controversy for his skeptical views of climate change. In recent months, MSNBC has hired several right-leaning figures. Conservative radio talker Hugh Hewitt, former Fox News host Greta Van Susteren, famed columnist George Will, and former George W. Bush spokeswoman Nicole Wallace. By the way, of course, on NBC, they hired Megyn Kelly, whose ratings have been a disaster. I can't believe they really did this. First of all, they were never the liberal network, let's be clear. They were the Democratic network. They do Democratic Party propaganda. The Democratic Party is not really left. So they do propaganda for this centrist corporatist party. So that's the best you got on TV was them. You know, mealy-mouthed defenses of like Obamacare. Yay. Hey, we don't hate gays on this network. Low bar. This is the lowest bar ever. So that's what they were at their best. Now, look at what they're doing. And you know what's so insane? Dude, they're just copying CNN's model. CNN has never really had great ratings. Fox News was always number one. Now they're slipping because they fired, the people who were their go-tos. They got rid of Bill O'Reilly because of his 9,000 sexual assaults. And so they went from number one. Now Fox is struggling, and they're not, every now and then, they're not number one anymore. But like MSNBC is copying CNN, who doesn't really have a great business model. They've been bragging about how, our ratings are up. Everybody's ratings are up. It's a fucking election year, you morons. Obviously it's up. Everybody's numbers are up. Everybody's numbers are up. Everybody's numbers are up. And they're going to go right back down now that the election's over and that things are kind of cooling off and stuff. I mean, it might be a little bit better than a regular off year because Trump is so fucking crazy that some people follow the news a little more, but that'll be across the board for everybody. So they're copying a shitty model. And by the way, this is fake neutrality. Neutrality is not the same thing as objectivity. Objectivity means, hey, I'm going to call it like it is, no matter what. I don't care where that puts me on the partisan spectrum. I don't care how that makes me look. I'm just going to keep it 100. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to tell the truth no matter where it leads me. That's objectivity. What they're doing is they're doing neutrality, and they're trying to make you think that's objectivity. So in other words, everything's debatable, everything's 50-50. We're going to have the right-wing and left-wing perspective on everything. Hey, evolution. I don't know. Some people say creationism is true. Some people say evolution is true. Let's debate it. CNN has had that debate before on air. Now they hired Hugh Hewitt, and this fucking guy, Bret Stephens, a climate science denier. Hey, let's debate it. Anything's debatable. Anything's debatable. We're the mainstream media. We do neutrality over objectivity. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? False equivalence all day long. Here's one side, here's the other side. You decide. No, you're supposed to listen to the fucking scientists and say what they say. On the economy, listen to the economists. Don't have some jackass right-winger preaching voodoo economics all day long when that's been proven to be a failure every time it's been implemented and say, hey, they say that, the Democrats say the opposite. Tell the fucking truth. Hey, healthcare. Some people say we should have a shitty private insurance system where people get denied care for basic things and people pay more and get worse coverage. Some say we should have that. Some say we should have a Medicare for all system. You decide. No, give me the fucking facts and tell me Medicare for all is the right one. Look at the evidence. But they can't do that. They're so fucking helpless. Their motto was shitty enough before because they weren't a liberal network. They were a Democratic network. Now it's even worse. Who the fuck? And to think, this will get us better ratings. You hired Hugh motherfucking Hewitt. Hugh Hewitt. Nobody likes that guy. Hugh Hewitt's family doesn't even like him. He doesn't like himself. Smug, pompous asshole with -8 fans. They hired Hugh Hewitt. They hired George Will. I would rather watch paint dry than listen to George Will. George Will's like the human embodiment of what the fuck is that cartoon? I'm going to blank on his name. The dog who talks really slow like this. Droopy? Is it Droopy? Oh, I'm so upset. That's George Will. And by the way, George Will is a guy who predicted Mitt Romney would win in an absolute landslide over Obama in 2012. Are there no consequences for just being wrong? In any other field, if you're that wrong, you're fired. Oh, you suck at your job. We're going to have to let you go. But in punditry, mainstream punditry, oh, this person has been wrong about everything every step of the way for over a decade. Come in, let me give you a $1 million salary. Oh! And by the way, they're the ones who get all the money. So we've spoken about this before, but YouTube apocalypse isn't over. Just because we don't talk about it that much anymore doesn't mean it's over. It ain't over. So we had, at one point, Secular Talk was on a blacklist, and we made no money from our YouTube videos. One day, we got nearly 500,000 views. Didn't make a single penny. Made nothing. Totally blacklisted. Then, somehow, we got off the blacklist. By the way, I think that's because of you guys, because we did a segment on it, and that segment blew up. And then people at YouTube, I heard through the grapevine, were like, yeah, we saw that. So off the blacklist, but we still had here at Secular Talk, a giant 50% cut, and now we're getting word it's going to get even worse again. It goes through ebbs and flows, but so you guys really saved the show. But think about the trick that the establishment did. TV, corporate media, they get all the ad money. Then this new thing comes up, this new product, this better product, YouTube. You get a lot of high quality content on there. You get a lot of shitty content too, but it attracts a hell of a lot of eyeballs. And then the ad money started shifting to YouTube. Oh my God, YouTube's taking over. It's almost like the logical next step. Like, okay, you had radio, and then TV took over radio, and then the internet takes over TV. It's like, oh, it's happening. It's unfolding. What happened? They muck up a scandal about how some ads got on some hateful content. YouTube basically axes and slashes the pay for all of the news and politics division. And then they roll out YouTube TV, how fucking convenient, at the same time, where it's just TV on YouTube. People left TV to come to YouTube, and now you want to make YouTube TV again, and the ad money leapfrogs the independent creators like us here at Secular Talk and goes right back to the same companies, the TV companies. YouTube TV is just TV. So the ad money went from TV to independent creators on YouTube and then right back to TV in the form of YouTube TV. So basically, the point is, outlets like ours, Humanist Report, Jimmy Dore Show, David Pakman Show, you name it, we rely on, we depend on you guys to make it. Now we are overwhelmingly a grassroots funded outlet. So, by the way, on Patreon is where you guys have saved me. It's patreon.com/secular talk if you want to donate. All I really ask is $2 a month. It's like a cup of coffee every month. And that means the world. You have no idea how much that means. And if you want to go nuts, you can do up to $7 a month, a whopping $7 a month to support the show. All the content remains free. Somebody did the math on it. It works out to like, I don't know, a cent or something per video. So is it worth that? Well, that's the model that we're left with because shitty corporate media has to cheat to defeat us. Because, by the way, our numbers for a day on YouTube oftentimes beat CNN in the middle of the day. Their key demographic numbers versus our key demographic numbers. But you wouldn't know because they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation and I'm an asshole with one microphone and one camera. So, but we rely on you guys, we depend on you guys, and you guys save the show. But honestly, in the realm of ideas, and when it comes to competition as to quality of content, I don't even think it's close. Because this is the best you're going to get from the so-called liberal outlet. They just hired a few climate science deniers and people who have the personality of a dish towel. People who've been wrong about everything. They're outside of the realm of debate. They're extremists. Now they hired them on the so-called liberal network. And they show no signs of stopping. They're just going to keep going in the wrong direction here. So your options are, they're just handing over the entire fucking market of reasonable people to us. So I really should be thanking them. But I'm not going to do that because I'd rather them do a good job and then the country be in a better place.